There comes a point in everyone's life when love stops feeling like a rush, and starts feeling like a reflection. When it's not about the fireworks or the chase anymore, but about finally seeing yourself clearly through someone else's eyes. That's what's happening with Johnny Depp. After years of chaos, heartbreak, and rebuilding, he's found something rare, a love that isn't loud, but steady. A love that doesn't demand attention, but quietly transforms the person you are. For most of his life, Johnny has been the man of mystery, a rebel, an artist, a soul living between shadows and light. He's been adored, misunderstood, judged, and celebrated all at once. Every relationship he's had seemed to live under the world's microscope. But this time, something's different. This time, it feels like he's not chasing love, he's becoming it. People who've seen him lately describe a change. The spark is still there, but it's calmer, softer. It's the kind of peace that doesn't come from fame or fortune, it comes from finding someone who doesn't just admire you, but understands you. And that's where this new woman comes in. She's not a headline hunter. She's not competing for attention. She's someone who brings balance, not drama. It's easy to romanticize Johnny Depp, the actor, the musician, the legend. But beneath all of that, there's always been a deeply sensitive person. Someone who feels things more intensely than most. That sensitivity has been both his greatest gift and his biggest burden. In love, that intensity often turned into chaos. But now, after everything he's been through, it's as if he's finally learning that love doesn't need to hurt to be real. When you think about it, his story mirrors a truth we all learn at some point, that love isn't supposed to rescue you, it's supposed to remind you who you are. Johnny's new relationship isn't about escaping his past. It's about embracing it, forgiving it, and building something new from it. After all the noise of the courtroom battles, the headlines, the heartbreaks, this connection feels like silence, the good kind. The kind where you can finally hear your own heartbeat again. People who know Johnny closely say that he's spending more time painting, writing, and playing music these days. And that says a lot. Creativity has always been his way of healing. Every time life broke him, he turned the pieces into art. But this time, it's not coming from pain, it's coming from peace. And that shift is profound. You can see it in his presence. The same man who once carried storms in his eyes now seems to carry light. And the person beside him plays a big part in that. She doesn't need to stand in the spotlight with him. She's content being the reason he smiles when no one's watching. That's rare, especially in a world where love is often performed for cameras and clicks. It's also what makes their connection so powerful. Because when two people stop performing for the world and start being real with each other, that's when identity begins to blend. That's when love becomes more than infatuation. It becomes a mirror. And maybe that's what Johnny's found, not just love, but reflection. The kind of bond that helps you see yourself more clearly, flaws and all, and still feel at peace. For years, Johnny was defined by his roles, Captain Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands, the outsider, the dreamer. But behind all those masks was a man still trying to figure out who he was when the cameras stopped rolling. Now, it feels like he's finally found that answer, not through fame, but through connection. People often think love changes you. But the truth is, it reveals you. It shows who you've always been beneath the layers of protection and fear. And for Johnny, this new chapter isn't about becoming someone new, it's about returning to himself. Psychologists say that after a period of trauma, we often redefine who we are based on the people we trust the most. They become emotional anchors, living reminders of who we're trying to be. That's what makes this story so different. Johnny isn't losing himself in love this time. He's grounding himself in it. When you've lived under the kind of scrutiny he has, trust becomes almost impossible. Every gesture, every look, every word gets twisted into a story. But somehow, he's found someone who doesn't care about the stories, someone who just cares about him. It's that quiet loyalty, that gentle consistency, that seems to be shaping this new version of Johnny. He's no longer reacting to the world around him. He's responding to the world within him. There's a small detail that many fans noticed. At recent public events, Johnny doesn't rush or hide anymore. He looks comfortable, grounded, present. That's not something you can fake. That's something you can only feel when your life finally starts aligning with your peace. And the woman beside him, she's not competing with his fame or trying to fit into his image. She's just living beside him, supporting him, giving him the space to breathe. And in that space, he's rediscovered himself. It's beautiful, really, how love can evolve. How it can shift from fiery obsession to quiet companionship. From passion that consumes you to connection that completes you. You can almost imagine them together, sitting somewhere away from the noise, painting, laughing, talking about simple things. Not worrying about tomorrow, not living in the past. Just being. Because at the end of the day, that's what real love is, the ability to just be. Without pretending, without performing. Just existing beside someone who makes you feel safe in your own skin. For Johnny, that's a kind of freedom he hasn't known in a long time. Maybe ever. Think about it, for decades, his relationships were magnified by fame. Everything became a story, a scandal, a symbol. But now, it feels like he's stepped out of the story and started living a real life again. That's why this connection feels so authentic. It's not about escaping the past, it's about learning from it. It's about taking all the lessons, the heartbreaks, the mistakes, the loneliness, and turning them into wisdom. He's been through the kind of pain that could harden anyone. Yet somehow, he's softer now. More open. More human. That's the beauty of healing, it doesn't erase your scars, it just makes them mean something. And if you've ever been through something that broke you, you'll understand this deeply. You know that the people who walk in after the storm, the ones who don't try to fix you, but sit beside you in the silence, those are the people who become part of your identity. Because love isn't just about attraction or excitement. It's about understanding. It's about finding someone who knows your silence, not just your laughter. Someone who doesn't ask you to explain your pain because they already feel it. That's what this relationship represents. It's not infatuation. It's not the thrill of the new. It's recognition. It's two souls meeting at the same frequency. And for Johnny, that's the most honest form of love there is. Of course, fans are curious. They always are. But what's surprising is how much respect people seem to have for this particular chapter of his life. There's a sense of admiration, not intrusion. People can sense when something is real. And maybe that's why so many are rooting for him, not because he's a celebrity, but because his story feels universal. It's a story of pain, recovery, and rediscovery. The kind that reminds us that even after the worst storms, peace is possible. What's even more interesting is how this love seems to be shaping his art again. You can hear it in his music, see it in his paintings, the colors are lighter, the themes are softer. That's not coincidence. That's emotion translating into creation. Artists often say that love is their greatest muse. But the kind of love that inspires isn't wild or unpredictable, it's calm. It gives clarity. And that's exactly what Johnny seems to have found. He's no longer using love as a way to escape his demons. He's using it to embrace them, to understand them. And that takes strength. When people ask, can love really change a person, maybe the better question is, can love remind a person who they really are? Because that's what's happening here. Johnny isn't becoming someone new. He's becoming someone true. And that's what makes this story worth telling. It's a reminder that healing doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just two people finding peace in each other's presence. If you've ever loved deeply, lost painfully, and learned slowly, you'll understand this chapter of his life perfectly. It's that in-between space where you stop chasing excitement and start choosing peace. It's the difference between saying, "I love you because I need you," and "I love you because I see you." That's what Johnny seems to be living now, love as reflection, not rescue. Love as balance, not battle. And maybe that's the secret to his glow these days, the reason he looks lighter, happier, more himself. Because when you find someone who makes you feel like home, the whole world feels less heavy. So maybe the real story here isn't just about Johnny Depp's new romance. Maybe it's about transformation, about how love, when it's real, doesn't demand that you become someone else. It helps you remember who you've been all along. And as he steps into this new phase of his life, it's clear he's not just rebuilding, he's becoming. Because the greatest love stories aren't the ones that burn bright and fast. They're the ones that keep glowing quietly, long after the cameras fade.